Good afternoon. Madam Vice Rector, Your Excellencies, dear professors, dear students, before we begin, as we all know, Pope Francis fell asleep in the Lord on Easter Monday. A dear brother and a sincere friend of mine, in honor of his service to humanity and to the gospel, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. I am grateful for the invitation to be with you today in Turin, a respected academic institution and a space of thought and dialogue. It embodies the shared human vocation to peace and unity, continuing to build bridges between Europe, Egypt, and the broader community of neighboring nations. I bring with me the warm greetings of the Coptic Orthodox Church in Egypt, rooted in the sands of Egypt, yet in solidarity with other churches and with all people of goodwill. This is the same land that once welcomed the Holy Family when they sought refuge from violence. From the very beginning of Christ's earthly life, Egypt became a place of shelter, of journey, and of silent divine presence. That legacy remains part of our spiritual DNA. Our reflection today carries an ancient phrase with ever-renewed meaning: in the world, not of it. This expression, drawn from the Gospel of St. John, captures a fundamental Christian tension and vocation. How does the Church and the believer live fully present in the reality of society, yet remain faithful to a calling that transcends all worldly power? This question is real for the Coptic Orthodox Church, with over 15 million Copts in Egypt living alongside more than 90 million Muslims, fellow citizens, and nearly 3 million more in growing diaspora across the 5 continents. Ours is a church that lives this tension daily, rooted in one land, yet spread across many, deeply embodied in society, yet always oriented toward the eternal. This is not merely a spiritual question. It's one with real result for how the Church contributes to building society, to seeing justice, to offering healing, without becoming an instrumental of ideology or politics. In his final prayer for his disciples, Jesus Christ says, "They are not of the world, even as I am not of it. Sanctify them in the truth." From the earliest centuries, the Coptic Church understood her role with the social order as that of a witness, not as a ruler. Our mission is rooted in love, truth, and hope. We believe that our work is to prefer another way of living, not to compete, but to complete, not to impose, but to propose, not to isolate, but to integrate. The Church does not seek to become a state within the state. It is not there to acquire political power, but it shall stand unshaken as a moral compass, as a safe of refugee, as a bearer of light. In this spirit, one of the most profound contributions of the Church to the human civilization has been the monastic traditions. And here, if you will allow me a moment of Coptic pride, I must mention that monasticism was born in Egypt, in the deserts of the Nile Valley. It was Saint Anthony the Great, our spiritual father, and a figure revered across different traditions, who first withdrew into the desert to live a life wholly devoted to God. From his witness, the spiritual revolution began. Every monk and nun, whether in East or West, Catholic or Orthodox, is in a sense indebted to the Egyptian hermit who became the father of nations. Monasticism shaped not only the church, but also moral imagination of societies. It reminded people that the truth cannot be reduced to power, and the peace begins in the silence of the soul. This remains true today in dozens of monasteries in and outside Egypt, where thousands of monks live the life of prayer, simplicity, and quiet witness. A life that still speaks to the deepest need of the modern world. The church missions, however, is not limited to the desert or to the monastery. Our calling is also to be in the world, to serve it, to heal it, and to stand beside every human person, especially the most fragile. In Christian thought, we speak of the common good, the flourishing of the whole society, rooted in the dignity of each person. It includes justice, education, health care, peace, and spiritual well-being. The Church contributes to this not by holding office, but by holding fast to the gospel. Across history and continents, the Church has founded schools, hospitals, and orphanages. It stood beside prisoners and refugees. It has spoken up for truth when it was dangerous to do so. This is not politics, it is love made visible. And today, the Church must remain a guardian of conscience in the world. Sometimes confuses progress with the forgetting of the soul. Our voice must be clear, but never aggressive. Faithful, but never partisan. Confident, but never proud. We live in an age of secularism, of complexity, and secularism grows. And so do the temptation of politicization or withdrawal. Today, fanaticism is no longer limited to the misunderstanding of religion. We are also witnessing new forms of secular fanaticism, rigid ideologies that reject the beyond, silence, dialogue, and leave little room for the human soul. The church must resist both. We cannot abandon society, nor can we allow ourselves to become an instrument of political agendas. When we speak on matters such as migration, climate, human rights, we do so not from ideology, but from a deeper belief that every person is made in the image of God and is entitled to peace, respect, and justice. When we defend life and family, it is because these are foundations of human dignity, not points of a party program. In this sense, the church walks a narrow path, deeply engaged with the society and its challenges, but never absorbed by its logic. Perhaps no church understands this delicate balance more than the Church of Egypt. For 2,000 years, we have been both an integral part of the nation and at the same time, the main other, never having adhered to the state faith. When Egypt was under the polytheist Roman Empire, Copts converted to Christianity. When the empire became Christian, Copts disagreed on the theology. When the Arabs conquered Egypt, Copts remained Christians. We never sought political ambition. Our mission has always been to serve, to love, and to endure. Throughout history, there have been difficult times, inclusion, and violence, but there has also been deep reliance, sacrifice, and hope. I personally witnessed a moment of such turmoil after the fall of fanatic regime in 2013. Churches and Christian institutions in Egypt were attacked and destroyed and burned. The nation stood on the edge. I felt a moral obligation to speak, to call for the calm, to halt the hostilities, and to reaffirm our shared life. I said words that I repeat to you today, not as a statement of despair, but as a declaration of hope. I said, a homeland without churches is better than churches without homeland. These words remind our conviction that the role of the church is not to protect the buildings, but to preserve the soul of a people living together in harmony. We can also rebuild when stones fall, but we cannot abandon the people we are called to serve. Dear friends, the church does not speak to dominate the world, but to illuminate it. Our mission is not to seize power, but to promote peace. In this, the church becomes a servant of the common good, a quiet builder of the future, to be in the world, not of it. Is not an escape, but it is a vocation and witness of love. Finally, to you, dear students and soon graduates. Don't be afraid of the past. Engage your societies. Love your countries. Defend the truth. But carry with you the humility of service, not the pride of power. May we all walk together, church and society, believer and seekers, the hopeful and the wounded, toward a world where dignity is protected, where peace is pursued, and where the divine spark in every person is seen and honored. Thank you.